Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired.
Hold on to your seats because this one's wild. Picture this: Diddy, the man who sold billions of records, launched fashion lines, and somehow made owning a yacht look casual might be spiraling into the kind of legal chaos even Hollywood screenwriters couldn't dream up. And the kicker? It's not some shady business deal, not a headline-grabbing arrest, not even a social media meltdown. It's his lawyer, yes, the very man who literally saved Diddy from a lifetime behind bars, allegedly saying, "I can't handle your case anymore." Wait, what? The guy who made sure Diddy didn't end up in a federal cage is apparently throwing in the towel. Now, let me ask you this: how does someone go from having a team of legal geniuses to suddenly standing alone in a courtroom storm, looking like a confused contestant on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Did Diddy finally push his luck too far? Or is this the beginning of the kind of scandal that gets your PR team calling in reinforcements and your accountant hiding under the desk? Buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into a story of betrayal, secret recordings, and legal drama that makes The Godfather look like a polite tea party. And trust me, you do not want to blink. The storm around Diddy isn't just brewing, it's a full-blown Category 5 hurricane. And trust me, the eye is nowhere near calm. Let's get one thing straight. We're not talking about the usual celebrity scandal, where someone tweets the wrong thing after a tequila shot. Oh no. This is a multi-layered, legally explosive situation that could make even the slickest Hollywood producers drop their popcorn. At the center of it all is Sean Combs, aka Diddy, aka the man who turned a hip-hop empire into a lifestyle brand that stretches from headphones to champagne. But right now, all that empire building looks dangerously like sand slipping through his fingers, and the reason is someone you wouldn't expect to see holding the match in this fire: his own lawyer. Yes, the same lawyer who has walked him through courts, threats, and federal scrutiny, allegedly waving the white flag and claiming he can no longer handle Diddy's case. Can you imagine? The guy whose strategy literally prevented a lifetime behind bars is now apparently reconsidering his allegiance. It's like hiring Gordon Ramsay to cook your wedding dinner and finding him throwing your lobster in the trash mid-service. Let's rewind for context, because this isn't the first time Diddy has found himself in a situation that makes the tabloids sweat bullets. Remember that infamous weekend when his private jet was reportedly grounded for a mysterious security review? Or the so-called accounting mishap that somehow coincided with a multi-million-dollar brand launch? Yeah, we're painting on a canvas that's already messy. And now you add the alleged lawyer walkout into the mix, and it starts looking less like chaos and more like a perfectly timed reality TV cliffhanger. Sources claiming to have inside knowledge tell us that the tension has been simmering for months. A powder keg of unspoken arguments, undocumented meetings, and behind-the-scenes decisions that would make any ordinary person clutch their pearls. And let's not forget the notorious footage that surfaced in the Netflix documentary, where Diddy's team was supposedly caught on tape without permission, mind you, capturing conversations that were expected to be private. Those tapes didn't just blow the lid off a legal strategy. They sent shockwaves through an already volatile narrative. Here's where it gets really juicy. According to anonymous insiders who spoke on the condition of complete secrecy, Diddy's legal team has been under immense pressure from multiple directions, the federal prosecutors circling like sharks, a public eager to dissect every Instagram story and press release. And let's not forget Diddy himself, whose perfectionist tendencies apparently reached levels that could only be described as cinematic. The whispers around town are that during key meetings, the lawyer allegedly expressed frustration at what they described as chaotic decision-making from the client side. Decisions were being made on a whim, strategies revised in real time, and worst of all, certain critical conversations were being recorded, creating what insiders call an ethical nightmare wrapped in a PR disaster. Yes, the man who has spent decades building. An image of control and authority now reportedly has people around him, questioning whether anyone in his inner circle can actually keep up with the pace he's setting or the unpredictable moves he's making. And it's not just internal drama. The social media landscape is exploding like a powder keg in slow motion. Fans, critics, and armchair legal experts have been dissecting every snippet, every leaked statement, and every facial expression from interviews, tweets, and press coverage. Some are asking whether Diddy's empire is finally showing cracks, while others are sarcastically suggesting he should hire a magician instead of a lawyer to handle his next crisis. Meme accounts have been having a field day, spinning the narrative with hashtags like #DiddyDrama, #LawyerDrop, and the ever-popular #ClientCan'tControl. But underneath the humor is a real tension. When the person who literally saved your freedom starts showing signs of retreat, that's more than a PR nightmare. It's a signal that something deeper, more structural, is shifting behind the scenes, adding fuel to the fire. Our sources claim that the alleged walkout wasn't just about legal strategy, it was a clash of personalities, egos, and expectations. Diddy, known for his meticulous attention to brand image and public perception, reportedly wanted to take certain risks that his lawyer considered reckless, even dangerous. And according to these insiders, those disagreements reached a boiling point in what one anonymous source described as a boardroom showdown with courtroom stakes. Now, I don't have to tell you what happens when someone like Diddy treats his legal strategy like a reality TV production chaos, confusion, and in this case, a potential ethical quagmire that could haunt him for years to come. The narrative emerging from these sources paints a picture of a high-stakes chess match where one of the most important pieces, his lawyer, is allegedly waving a flag of surrender, and the rest of the board is left scrambling to cover the gaps. But what about the layer in all of this? After all, the alleged walkout didn't come from a random associate, it came from someone who has been the backbone of Diddy's legal battles for years. Reports indicate that this individual had successfully navigated Diddy through highly sensitive situations before, cases that could have ended disastrously if mismanaged. They were the person who supposedly orchestrated strategies that kept Diddy out of prison for life. Yet here we are, with rumors swirling that the lawyer is now reconsidering their involvement. The alleged reasons? Frustration with unorthodox tactics, ethical concerns over secret recordings, and possibly sheer exhaustion from managing a client whose life seems to oscillate between chaos and calculated theatrics on a daily basis. And yes, in true dramatic fashion, some reports suggest the lawyer gave an ultimatum, forcing Diddy's team into a corner with no easy escape. Meanwhile, the public reaction is a mix of incredulity, mockery, and genuine concern. On Twitter, reactions range from people saying, "If your lawyer can't handle you, maybe it's time to fire yourself," to more hyperbolic takes like, "Diddy's about to be in a courtroom drama that even law and order wouldn't touch." Forums and fan pages are lighting up with debates about whether this is all part of a larger power move or a signal of impending disaster. Some conspiracy theorists are claiming that the alleged walkout was orchestrated by rival industry figures, while others simply shrug and post memes of Diddy with a confused expression, sipping champagne as if nothing is wrong. And let's be real, when you have a fan base this passionate, the speculation spreads faster than wildfire, and we're only just scratching the surface. The alleged leak of the private recordings in the Netflix documentary added another layer of controversy. Critics argue that these tapes not only violated attorney-client trust, but also painted Diddy in a light that could embolden opponents and embitter allies. Imagine sitting in your office, managing crises across multiple businesses, only to find that your private conversations about legal strategy are now fodder for streaming drama. It's the kind of situation that makes CEOs sweat bullets and PR teams cry into their artisanal coffee cups. And insiders say that these recordings have been analyzed in painstaking detail by analysts and media outlets alike, with every word, pause, and tone being dissected for hidden meaning. The consensus? It looks bad, even before considering the alleged walkout of the lawyer do so. Where does that leave us? Diddy, with a legal team allegedly on the brink, private conversations leaking into the public domain, and a social media landscape filled with memes and speculation, is staring down a situation that's more complicated than a plot twist in a Christopher Nolan film. And the question hanging over it all, if the person who kept you out of prison for life can no longer handle your case, what does that say about the stability of the entire operation? What does it say about trust, loyalty, and the way crises are handled in the world of high-stakes celebrity legal battles? And just when you think it can't get any messier, sources say that internal communications within Diddy's team are reportedly tense, with some staff allegedly questioning whether decisions are being made strategically or impulsively.
There are whispers of last-minute changes to legal filings, unexpected public statements, and high-level meetings that reportedly end in heated arguments. In other words, the alleged walkout might just be the tip of the iceberg, the visible crack in a foundation that has been under pressure for months. And here's the kicker: the timing couldn't be worse. With public attention at an all-time high due to recent media coverage and the streaming documentary, every move, every misstep, and every word from Diddy's camp is being scrutinized under a microscope. One wrong statement, one poorly timed press release, and the entire narrative could spiral beyond repair. And insiders claim that the alleged walkout is the kind of event that, once it becomes public, could trigger cascading effects. Shifts in public perception, internal panic, and possibly even legal vulnerabilities that were previously under control. But here's the part that really gets people talking. The alleged situation isn't just about Diddy's lawyer walking away. It's about the signal it sends to everyone involved. When someone who has historically been the stabilizing force in your legal universe starts stepping back, the message is loud and clear: things might be slipping. And when things start slipping in Diddy's world, the consequences aren't just financial or legal. They're existential for his brand, his image, and his empire. Suddenly, what was a contained legal issue becomes a public spectacle, complete with speculation, memes, and endless commentary from pundits who specialize in sensationalism. And that's where we end this first layer of the story. Right at the edge, where internal chaos meets public scrutiny, where trust is questioned, and where the man who once seemed untouchable now finds himself potentially vulnerable. Because if the allegations are true, and the lawyer has indeed indicated that they can no longer handle the case, then Diddy's empire may be facing one of its most precarious moments yet. And now, just when you think we've explored all the drama, the deeper scandal begins to emerge, and that's where the next chapter picks up. The leaks, the insider whispers, and the public reaction all converge to reveal layers that are even more explosive than what we've just uncovered. From alleged lavish spending to secret recordings and ethical dilemmas that could make any courtroom tremble, the fallout is about to get real, and the next section will take you straight into the heart of the controversy. Here's where the scandal explodes. What started as a whisper about a lawyer allegedly stepping away from Diddy's case has now morphed into something far bigger. A web of secrecy, questionable decisions, and jaw-dropping allegations that nobody saw coming. Sources who claim insider knowledge insist that what's really happening behind the scenes makes the Netflix documentary look like a warm-up act. Leaked reports, anonymous messages, and off-the-record accounts paint a picture of Diddy operating in what insiders describe as a controlled chaos environment, which is just a fancy way of saying he's juggling lawsuits, recordings, and a team that's on the verge of mutiny, all while sipping on Cristal like nothing's wrong. Let's start with the financial side because, naturally, where there's Diddy, there's money, lots of it, and apparently, plenty of questionable uses. According to our so-called confidential sources, Diddy has been spending millions in ways that even some of his closest aides reportedly find shocking. From late-night chartered jets for friends nobody had ever met, to luxury penthouses in Miami that allegedly sit empty 90% of the year, to a rumored legal war chest that may or may not exist depending on which insider you believe, the claims are outrageous. One anonymous source told us, "I've seen expense reports that look like a monopoly board, but with real money. Every month it's yachts, private chefs, last-minute flights, it's ridiculous. And nobody knows if it's business, pleasure, or just ego." And then there's the alleged ethical firestorm. Remember the leaked documentary footage? Sources allege that these recordings weren't just for posterity. They were strategically capturing private conversations with Diddy's legal team, conversations that, by all accounts, should have remained confidential. Lawyers, clients, private strategy, those are supposed to be sacred, untouchable. Yet here we have Diddy's inner circle apparently creating a time capsule of legal deliberations that could be dissected by anyone with a Netflix subscription. One insider reportedly said, "It's like watching someone record their own hand while juggling knives and calling it art. It's impressive and terrifying." Public reaction has been immediate and merciless. Social media has transformed into a digital coliseum. Fans, critics, and people who just woke up and thought, "I should check the Diddy news," are all weighing in. Hashtags like #LawyerDrop and #DiddyDrama are trending. Memes showing Diddy looking confused next to text reading "when your lawyer quits mid-case" are everywhere, and commentary sections are filled with guesses that range from "his planning a power move" to "this is the beginning of a federal disaster." Some have even started sharing fabricated screenshots of supposed text messages between Diddy and his legal team. Are they real? Who knows? But the perception is reality in situations like this, and the public's imagination has gone full throttle. Now, let's talk about internal staff. According to our sources, there's tension in the air so thick you could cut it with a diamond-studded butter knife. Allegedly, key team members have been arguing about whether Diddy's decisions are calculated genius or reckless self-sabotage. One purported insider said, "You can feel it in every meeting. Everyone's walking on eggshells. You never know if today you're going to execute a flawless strategy or witness a full-blown meltdown." And if you thought this was limited to verbal disputes, think again. Rumors suggest last-minute changes to filings, sudden shifts in PR messaging, and even emergency consultations with third-party crisis experts who were allegedly flown in on private jets to patch things up. It's like watching a soap opera, but with real money, real legal consequences, and, of course, real Diddy. Then we get to the most eyebrow-raising element of this drama: alleged manipulation and influence. Some sources claim that Diddy has been exerting pressure not just on his own team but also on external allies, from industry executives to lobbyists, to maintain control of the narrative. In fact, one unnamed insider boldly stated, "He's calling everyone, texting everyone, even allegedly sending people on last-minute errands just to keep the story spinning in his favor. It's orchestrated chaos, and it's brilliant, if it works. But if it doesn't, it's catastrophic." And that's exactly the tension that's keeping everyone talking. Line between genius and disaster has never been thinner. The alleged fallout isn't limited to money or strategy. It's ethical, too. Lawyers who spoke off the record have hinted that recording private conversations without consent could create long-term complications, not just for Diddy, but for the legal team involved. Imagine the irony. The person whose freedom was literally on the line might now be jeopardizing everything because of secret recordings and a team on edge. Ethical observers reportedly shook their heads and said, if this leaks any further, it could be worse than any criminal case. And let's be honest, the idea that the man who once controlled his empire down to the smallest detail could be at the mercy of perception alone is deliciously dramatic. And of course, the media frenzy doesn't help. Every outlet has taken a piece of the puzzle, some exaggerating, some speculating, and some inventing new angles altogether. Reports of lavish spending, secret meetings, and the alleged lawyer walking away are now intertwined with speculation about Diddy's next moves, social alliances, and even potential business fallout. Public sentiment is a roller coaster, with some saying, Diddy is untouchable, he'll survive this, while others whisper, this is the beginning of the end for the empire. And as any crisis management expert will tell you, perception is often more dangerous than reality, and in this case, it's spinning out of control. Then we have what insiders describe as a power struggle within the power struggle. Allegedly, key staffers are jockeying for influence, trying to position themselves as the ones who can calm the storm, or at least control the narrative once the lawyer allegedly steps back. Emails, texts, and meetings reportedly show frustration, secret strategies, and arguments about what should be disclosed publicly versus what should remain behind closed doors. In other words, the circus is in full swing, and everyone is scrambling for the best seat. And while all of this is happening, Diddy's public persona remains pristine, or at least carefully curated. Fans see the champagne, the yachts, the red carpets, and they think everything is fine. But behind the scenes, insiders paint a very different picture. A team on edge, a lawyer allegedly reconsidering involvement, and a series of strategic decisions that, if miscalculated, could unravel the empire faster than you can say P. Diddy's legal nightmare. And that duality, the public image versus private chaos, is exactly what makes this story irresistible. Now, let's add one more layer to the drama: alleged sabotage. Sources claim that some members of Diddy's team may have intentionally leaked information or manipulated narratives to their advantage. Could this be a coordinated attempt to pressure Diddy into making concessions? Or is it a byproduct of a team operating in chaos, where no one trusts anyone else? The answer is unclear, but insiders agree on one thing: it's messy, it's dramatic, and it's exactly the kind of situation that keeps people glued to their screens. And as the tension escalates, the implications grow. The alleged lawyer stepping back could mean delays in crucial legal filings, exposure to additional scrutiny from federal authorities, and, potentially, a domino effect across Diddy's entire enterprise. Sources speculate that if the team cannot stabilize quickly, it could lead to resignations, public disputes, or even financial repercussions that ripple beyond the immediate crisis. And because this story is unfolding in real time, every social media post, every interview, and every subtle public move is being analyzed, dissected, and turned into headlines, amplifying the pressure even further. Finally, as part 2 wraps up, it's clear that we're witnessing more than just a legal hiccup. This alleged scandal has all the hallmarks of a systemic breakdown: internal conflicts, public perception wars, ethical quandaries, and financial intrigue. And while the full extent of what's happening remains shrouded in mystery, one thing is undeniable: if the lawyer really can't handle Diddy's case anymore, the ripple effects could be enormous, where we'll dive into the fallout, consequences, and the shocking twists nobody saw coming. So, here's where the real storm hits, and we're not talking about casual gossip anymore. We're talking fallout. The kind of fallout that makes headlines, sparks congressional curiosity, and leaves your PR team frantically Googling how to survive a viral legal crisis. Because if the rumors are even half true, Diddy is staring down a perfect storm of legal, financial, and public relations disasters, all at once. And it starts with the obvious: the alleged lawyer who may have just stepped back. That isn't just a minor inconvenience. That's like the quarterback quitting mid-game while the opposing team is charging down the field, and the fans are live streaming it all. Sources claiming insider knowledge suggest that the alleged walkout, or even the mere hint of it, has triggered a chain reaction inside Diddy's legal ecosystem. Associates, paralegals, and even outside consultants are allegedly scrambling to fill the void, trying to patch together strategies that were once coordinated by someone who had decades of experience in navigating federal scrutiny. One so-called off-the-record insider said, "It's chaos. Imagine an orchestra with half the musicians leaving mid-symphony and no conductor. That's what this looks like." And the kicker: nobody knows if the remaining team members even agree on the next move, which is exactly the kind of uncertainty that can make any courtroom opponent salivate. The alleged consequences don't stop with internal chaos. Our sources hint that government scrutiny is intensifying. Federal regulators, supposedly already keeping tabs on Diddy for years, allegedly received whispers about irregularities, last-minute financial transactions, questionable accounting practices, and, most eyebrow-raisingly, the secret recordings of privileged conversations. One anonymous federal source reportedly said, if those recordings ever surfaced in court or became public in a certain way, it could raise some very uncomfortable questions. Questions that Diddy probably doesn't want to answer right now. And yes, insiders claim that this is the kind of thing that could trigger multi-agency investigations, audits, and subpoenas, all while Diddy's public persona continues to present the illusion of control. Meanwhile, the media frenzy is accelerating. Every outlet, blog, and TikTok account seems to have a theory, a leak, or an opinion. Fake documents, alleged insider emails, and fabricated memos are being circulated as proof of Diddy's impending disaster. And here's the thing about perception. Once a narrative starts spreading, it's almost impossible to stop. Social media users are debating endlessly. Some say Diddy's empire is collapsing. Others argue it's just a calculated play, a way to control attention and manipulate the public. And the memes, oh, the memes. If a picture of Diddy looking mildly concerned gets paired with the phrase, "When your lawyer quits but your champagne is still cold," it becomes a cultural moment. And whether Diddy likes it or not, the court of public opinion is running at full speed, while the legal system lags behind, trying to catch up. And then comes the financial angle, because money is never far behind in a story like this. Allegedly, Diddy's companies could face cascading consequences if confidence in his management wavers. Think sponsors pausing deals, partners reconsidering contracts, and employees suddenly questioning whether the empire is as stable as it looks. Sources claim that the mere rumor of the lawyer stepping back has prompted internal audits and emergency financial consultations. One purported insider even said, "They're reviewing every transaction, every contract, every sponsorship deal to see if this crisis could cost them millions." And yes, it probably could. So while fans are laughing at memes and TikTok dances, behind closed doors, numbers are being crunched with the kind of intensity reserved for nuclear simulations. Now, let's not ignore the ethical drama. Allegedly, the secret recordings of conversations that were supposed to be privileged could have far-reaching consequences beyond just embarrassment. Legal ethics experts who spoke off the record claim that even if Diddy technically owns the footage, the mere act of recording private legal consultations without consent creates a moral and potentially legal gray zone. Insider whispers suggest that this is causing tension not just with the lawyer allegedly stepping back but within Diddy's entire legal advisory ecosystem. It's the kind of situation that could lead to professional disciplinary reviews, or at least a very public airing of grievances that nobody wants in their timeline. And as if that weren't enough, the ripple effects are spreading into Diddy's personal brand. Allegedly, some marketing executives are already concerned that continued instability could erode public trust. One so-called insider source claimed, "Brands hate uncertainty. Sponsors hate it. Fans, they might tolerate it, but if it gets too messy, they'll turn." And that's a risk Diddy doesn't usually take lightly. Yes, even the man who once casually dominated music, fashion, and nightlife knows that perception drives dollars. And when perception is in free fall, even an empire built on decades of influence can wobble. Let's talk fallout on a personal level. Sources allege that Diddy's inner circle is tense, volatile, and ready to fracture. Key staffers reportedly have been choosing sides, deciding whether to back Diddy's vision, hedge their bets, or quietly distance themselves from the drama. Some allegedly fear that association with a chaotic legal situation could hurt their careers. Others reportedly see opportunity in positioning themselves as the stabilizing voice. One insider allegedly said, "It's like Game of Thrones, but with spreadsheets, private jets, and champagne instead of swords." Alliances are shifting daily, and nobody knows who will come out on top. And the alleged public reactions are explosive. Comment sections across YouTube, Twitter, and Reddit are filled with speculation, accusations, and conspiracy theories. One viral tweet reportedly read, "If your lawyer quits, maybe your empire isn't as bulletproof as you thought. Just saying." Another popular thread claimed, Diddy's next move is probably panic buying another yacht while firing half his staff. And, of course, the memes, endless, relentless memes that simultaneously mock, dramatize, and immortalize the scandal for posterity. Perception isn't just narrative, it's an unstoppable tidal wave, and Diddy is currently surfing the crest. But let's not forget the potential legal implications. According to sources who claim familiarity with federal procedures, an unstable legal team could make Diddy vulnerable to new investigations, unexpected filings, and even challenges from former allies who sense weakness. Hypothetical resignations, probes into financial dealings, and leaks of internal communications could all trigger cascading legal consequences. And insiders speculate that the mere hint of internal fracture could embolden opponents, prosecutors, and rival business entities to push harder, faster, and more aggressively. In short, if the lawyer allegedly walking away is true, it isn't just a headline, it's potentially a full-blown avalanche. And here's the final, chilling layer, the narrative momentum. Because as long as this story continues to grow, recordings circulating, rumors amplifying, insiders whispering, social media erupting, the situation feeds on itself. Each new rumor sparks another wave of speculation. Each leaked report drives more attention. And Diddy, despite decades of experience navigating high-stakes drama, is now facing a situation where perception could become reality. Once a story reaches this point, insiders claim it's almost impossible to stop the momentum without a dramatic, game-changing move. The alleged fallout is massive. Public scrutiny, financial instability, internal fracturing, legal exposure, and a narrative running faster than anyone can manage. And here's the kicker. The story isn't just about what has happened. It's about what could happen. What happens if this escalates further? What happens if more recordings surface? What happens if the lawyer truly withdraws and leaves Diddy navigating federal scrutiny alone? And most importantly, what happens to an empire built on meticulous control when control appears to be slipping? The answers aren't clear yet, but the implications are enormous. Every rumor, every leaked report, every sarcastic meme has added fuel to a fire that refuses to die down. The narrative is alive, unpredictable, and, according to our sources, only just beginning to unfold. And as we prepare to wrap this story up in the final segment, it's clear that one question remains front and center. Can Diddy survive this legal and public relations maelstrom, or are we witnessing the unraveling of a carefully constructed empire in real time? So, what does this all mean for Diddy? And honestly, for all of us watching this unfold like a reality show on steroids? Are we witnessing the beginning of the end for an empire that's been built on influence, money, and meticulous control? Or is this just another calculated Diddy move? One of those chaos is the strategy plays that leave everyone talking while he quietly pulls the strings behind the curtain.